everyone, welcome back to QSR Nation, your weekly source of food service marketing and business strategies for success. Here are your hosts, Josh, Beth, Tony, and Grant from the PFS Brands National Headquarters in Holt Summit, Missouri.
Hey everybody, welcome back to QSR Nation. As always, we have Josh, Beth, Grant, and Tony here from the PFS Brands National Headquarters in Holt Summit, Missouri to talk about food service marketing and business strategies for success. Today we're really excited to have Brandon and Amelia Hughes here of Wild North. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
You guys want to tell us a little bit about your business?
So we own a food cart in Portland, Oregon. We do seasonal whole proteins. It's all wood-fired, and we focus on getting all of our ingredients within 100 miles.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. They were telling me, yesterday, by the way, Brandon's my cousin, so I apologize that, he's related to me. But they were telling me about how you guys actually drove, it was like over an hour to get lamb, just because all your special dishes that you do make, you really try and take pride in the fact that you're going to have most of the local organic food and the best prepared items. So just tell us a little bit more about how you go and figure out which items and where you purchase them at.
We work with mostly vendors who sell at farmers markets, and a lot of it we just found by walking around, introducing ourselves, and letting them know what we were doing, and just asking about their wholesale program. It depends on the season, but for the most part, we use mostly the same farmers.
Mostly, usually, yeah.
It just kind of depends on what they have available.
Right.
But
When you're out there and you're sourcing those out, what are the you guys have a pretty standard menu, or do you do certain specials? I know you mentioned some seasonality things, but you change it up fairly
so
often.
we do whole proteins.
Yeah, we change it up every season, every time.
Every
it's a
3 or 4
different
months.
menu. So nothing's
do a whole new
standard,
menu.
really. Yeah, it's standard is we keep one meat and one fish usually.
Okay.
Seafood type.
The whole
Okay.
thing changes because we do nose to tail. That's what I say when I mean whole proteins.
Yeah.
So the whole menu is built around those proteins,
Oh wow!
and whatever is available seasonally, produce-wise too.
So what typically do you find to be kind of one of your most popular dishes that you guys serve?
The bread bowls that you see right there are usually a big hit, just because
We always do bread bowls.
Yeah,
They just change.
we're always
what's
gonna do
inside
bread,
of
yeah,
them.
and we change either what the
Those
type
are
of
pretty
soup
standard
or-
every season.
So for your regular customers, is there some that always just try your bread bowls then? Is that
Yeah.
Even though they change, but
Yeah, and it just depends on the season. Right now we have a rabbit chili, as that's our meat bread bowl.
Okay.
And then we have a chicory coffee and carrot soup as our other one. So we try to do one with meat and one that's either vegetarian or a chowder type thing if we have a fish that we want to use.
Well, I tell you, for the listeners, if you go to wildnorthpdx.com, you can see a picture of that bread bowl, and it looks amazing.
It does. It's great.
Or follow us on Instagram.
Yes,
Yeah.
there you go. Follow me on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Their
Yeah.
descriptions
It's a lot better
alone are
pictures.
sold. I'm I'll drive, I'll fly, I don't care, I'm not going.
And we mentioned it's wildnorthpdx.com. The reason why it's PDX is you mentioned flying is you guys are at the airport then, right?
No.
No,
Or
we're not.
no?
No, we're not.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, that's
That's a
just
good question.
PDX
Yeah.
is just in Portland. That's what people call Portland.
Gotcha.
You'll see
It's like a
PDX
nickname for the
everywhere
city.
in Portland.
Yeah.
see, our town's not big enough to be called
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
A lot of businesses will have PDX on their social media handle or their website because it's just an easier way to if there's someone else with your business name, to
Good deal.
differentiate.
So how did you, sorry.
Okay, no, go ahead.
So how did you guys get started in the food truck business?
Well, Brandon's been cooking for probably 10
Over
years
10
now.
years now. And we did a pop-up a few years ago with this
Yeah.
concept. I had been thinking of this concept for a long time. And we did a pop-up restaurant, which is, we rented out a restaurant space and we just ran a restaurant for 2 days. And it was kind of like this menu. We did a whole pig. We didn't do we did catfish too. We did
catfish
pig and catfish. And then we did this, and we decided we'd try to make it a food cart. And her family's from Portland. I think if you want to explain how we got here.
So we moved to Portland. We were living in Minneapolis, but we moved to Portland because my family owns some land out there. And so eventually we'd like to be growing all of our own produce and raising all of our own animals.
Oh, wow.
So right now we're sourcing from other people because we just aren't quite there yet, but that's the dream. And Portland also is just a lot more food cart friendly, I guess. You don't see as many opening and closing, I guess, is in Minneapolis. We really liked Minneapolis, but it's also very seasonal, being that it's so cold in the winter.
Mhm.
Like food carts, really, they're not carts, they're trucks, and they don't have permanent spots. So in Portland, there's pods. Right now we're at a brewery, but we like lease a space, so we're
Mhm.
in the same spot for a year at a time. And we're mobile in the sense that we have wheels, but like we don't really move.
Mhm.
So how did you guys? I mean, are there like multiple food trucks right there with you in an area, creating like a destination spot, or
The first
how
place
you-
we were at for the first year, we were in a pod with like 30 other carts.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's like the original pod in Portland. That,
It's called Cartlandia, and it's full of like it's food carts. That's
Yeah.
it. So
Well, I bet that really helps, especially with traffic, because I mean, it creates that destination area when you
yeah,
versus just being.
it's also
singular.
very like touristy for anyone that comes to town, that people want to check out food carts, and you go find a pod.
Mhm.
It's,
The local fair is always the best way to go, and I mean, in a basically a farm to table setting as well. I mean, that's a huge expansion of food growth in this country right now. I mean, the move towards that is so impressive. I've got a friend; she has a restaurant down in Springfield, and did a similar thing. And seeing that that growth and the adaptation of the consumer to just really feel like, hey, this is really great, fresh. It's local grown, local produced. I mean, they just feel like there's just a better overall value in what
Yeah.
they're getting for their money.
absolutely.
people really appreciate it, and I think that there's definitely value in someone asking you, where did this piece of meat come from, and you can tell them the name of the farmer.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's one of the great things about locally owned and locally sourced. I know we deal with a lot of things that are sourced all over the world, but that's one thing that's a great niche for you guys to be in, and to have that there. That also probably presents some probably struggles as well, right? With
Oh, absolutely.
sourcing and
Absolutely.
I spend an insane amount of time in my car.
So have you guys been able to look at? Is there some point you mentioned you try to use the same farmers more consistently? Does that really help you with your sourcing, so you don't have to be driving 100 miles everywhere
Yeah.
to get
Absolutely,
everything?
yeah.
It does.
Developing
We have
that
like 4 or
relationship.
5 that we use pretty consistently.
Yeah.
And they also, there's a year-round farmer's market where I can go and pick everything up once a week. I just like let them know ahead of time what I want, and they're able to bring it there so I can pick it up. But we don't really get like deliveries, so we still have to figure out how much we need ahead of time, order it, make sure that we've got enough space to store it and all of that.
But when they say they source everything, like they even source down to their butter. Like she works with a lady that like creates their own butter, and then they order
Wow.
those every so often. So I mean, everything that you're getting at their food cart is completely all natural. I mean, it's amazing and incredible. You should definitely go visit their website. Their setup is awesome, and it just kind of gives you an idea as to anyone that's out there that is interested in getting a food cart or a food truck concept out there. Just because of the uniqueness and everything else that you get to have, getting to change your menu up anytime that you would want, or just getting the variety that you're kind of looking for whenever it comes to. You're tired of always having to sell the same thing on your menu or having a standard menu board. Definitely check out their website and see what they offer and everything they can do. But follow them on Instagram, on Facebook. They have a website, and we'll link you all to that. But it's an amazing concept.
Yeah, because you're changing your menu so often. How do regulations and things like that work?
We have a license through. It's like it's a little bit different in Portland than I think
Probably
mostly
different
everywhere
everywhere,
else.
yeah.
Yeah. But we just have a license for a
Yeah.
year, and we let the health department know when we change the menu.
Oh, cool.
And that we're lucky that we have a health department that really wants to work with us.
Yeah, it's
They're-
different in most areas.
I can email them and ask them a question, and they respond in an
That's
hour,
good,
which is
yeah.
great, instead of like having to worry about,
Mhm.
that you're trying to skirt around regulations or
Mhm.
whatever. Like
They-
they're really willing to work with you, and
Yeah.
and they want you to be successful because it's such a industry, I guess, in
Right.
Portland.
Mhm. And so our headquarters here, we're just outside Jefferson City, and over the last just year or two, we've seen a lot more food trucks or food carts come around. Can you guys speak to how much that industry has grown over the last few years?
I don't know the exact figures, but there's some market research article that I read that it's like a couple $1 billion industry now, and I think it's because people are so tired of working for someone else.
Right. Yeah.
It's
It's
like
very low
it's
overhead.
super low overhead. I mean, comparatively to brick and mortar.
Mhm.
And consumers have taken a liking to it.
Yeah, it's quick, it's convenient. I mean, part of our concept is that like you shouldn't have to get dressed up to eat great food. Like,
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that.
you know,
Yeah.
there's no reason you should have to dress fancy to eat fancy.
And spend a ton of money.
Yeah.
And I think people really like that. It's just like, you know, you can make a lot more food approachable to a lot more people in a food cart environment rather than a brick and mortar restaurant.
So, and you mentioned about working for yourself versus working for someone else too. Now, anyone who runs a restaurant, they know that it's usually about a 30-hour-a-week gig, right? You get all the free time.
Are you joking?
so, yeah, and everyone who just made obscene gestures at me through the radio. Just kidding.
Funny joke.
Just kidding. So I mean, compared it to cooking or even being in the brick and mortar setting, I mean, hours wise, are you still on it's like that 80, 100-hour week commitment?
I mean, it's more right
Yeah.
now because it's only just us.
Gotcha.
We're
We
still
don't have
so
any
small. We
employees.
don't have any employees yet, but
I still have a part-time job somewhere else, which
Yeah.
is it's very flexible. So I'm really lucky that I'm able to work when I can and turn it down if I'm not able to, or if we have something we need to do with the cart. But it's pretty like consistently 16-hour days. I would say most of the time, 5 or 6 days a week.
That's awesome. I mean,
And do you guys do breakfast,
Anyway.
lunch, and dinner, or?
we only do breakfast on Sundays.
Okay.
But we do lunch and dinner every day except Tuesday.
So what is your, I'm going to just put you on the spot. So what has been your favorite dish or something that you've remembered the most all the time that you've been cooking? What is your most favorite dish?
That we serve at this
Like
restaurant.
forever.
Forever that you've made.
Oh man, I am a fan. I am really a fan of the bread bowls. I've in my 10-year career, I've wanted to learn how to make bread, and that's been like my biggest challenge as a chef. And as soon as I moved to Portland, I got a baking job so I can really learn it. And now I'm glad I do, because I think I nailed it. I like it. It's my favorite, and I love the concept of like eating your dish, I guess.
Yeah.
Better for the environment type of thing, the ultimate disposable plate.
oh man,
But
and it looks like, again, it just looks fabulous. I mean, it's early in the morning today, but boy, I could tear that up.
Yeah.
That's really good. So I mean, and again, listeners, you got to go to the website. You got to see this picture. But what is actually in this bread bowl that you have there?
So this is a chili special that we did.
This is not the one that we currently have on our menu.
This
one
is
that
just
we
a
did.
special we did.
I don't remember what meat was
I
in
think
there.
it was lamb. I think we did with our concept of using the whole animal. Part of the way we're able to keep our food costs down and make it more approachable is that we use like the cuts of meat that people would normally throw away or just not buy or whatever.
We're
Like
just trying to reduce waste.
Yeah,
and
exactly. So like I think
utilize
this.
every part of the
I think
animal.
this we use the head of the lamb. We boiled it down and
This
made
one's
it-
on our Instagram, so I'm gonna look up what the description was because then I can
Yeah.
actually tell you what's
I
on
mean,
it.
it just looks amazing, and,
Yeah.
and by being in that head to tail,
Yeah.
opportunity. I mean, you can do the different stews and you can do different chilies.
play around with
Yeah,
so
I
many
mean,
different.
and there's so many different things that you can put together
Yeah.
with those things. I mean, I just think that it just looks amazing. And I mean, you got some really bright veggies in there, which I'm a meatitarian, but man, that looks good.
And I will say, so Amelia does the marketing for it, and I will 100% say, like, the descriptions are key when it comes to a food truck or a food cart or anything like that, because you have to make sure that you're appealing to those customers. And every single time I read one of the descriptions, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the most incredible thing ever. Even though I may not necessarily know what Brandon uses in the stew, I'll forget that part because it does sound so amazing.
And that's the thing. Most people don't really. They think they don't want to try like the head or the heart or liver or whatever. But I don't know. People see it and they give you that look like it's weird. But I'll try
People
it.
are a lot more
Right.
adventurous
Yeah,
than I
they're a
think
little.
that
That's the whole
sometimes we give
point.
them
They
credit
want
for.
people to be adventurous.
Uh-huh.
They want people to try the weird things.
And that's the thing is, what's funny is, what's weird in one area
No, true.
is completely like standardized in another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of my cousins that live down south, this is probably gonna make people gross out, but they used to pick brains and eggs, and I'm just like, I love bacon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Who
serious.
doesn't?
My greatest relationship in my life was between me and a piece of bacon. But
But true
However,
story.
Not so much the brain.
not so much the brains, you know, but I mean, it's just one of those things that it's amazing, all the different components, of the protein that you can use that actually tastes really, really well.
Mhm.
Especially if you serve it up right. Maybe not with ketchup, but
Not just taste well, but are actually really good for you too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this one had duck and turkey sausage in it.
Oh, this was our first woodsman
Yeah,
chili.
so what I had written on here was house-made duck and turkey sausage, tomatoes fresh from our wild north garden. We did have a garden last year, and we were able to grow things like tomatoes. Topped with tasty morsels of bourbon marinated wild mushrooms and chanterelles, garden fresh pickled carrots, Ritz crackers, creme fraiche, served in a wood-fired sourdough bread bowl with a side of Jacob's Creamery butter.
Nice.
It looks so good.
Bourbon
Yeah.
marinated mushrooms.
Yeah, that might be my favorite ingredient.
Yeah,
that
you
they use.
just,
I've had it
uh,
on every menu so far.
We use them a lot. You just take like fresh or dehydrated mushrooms. I have a mushroom guy that's like what his stand is at the farmer's market. He's just like a mushroom forager. And you just dump cheap bourbon in there and like let them soak it all up.
Hmm.
And then I cook them down and I preserve them so they just
Yeah.
last for weeks.
To try that.
Slightly disappointed you didn't bring any to try, but I mean,
Yeah.
we'll let it go this time.
You've been tough on the plane. Take that on the plane.
Sacrifices, man.
But I tell you, when you're able to, take time off, what does that even look like? Do you guys, do you take a day a week off? Do you never take a day a week off?
We're just starting to take a consistent day off. Yeah.
But it's mostly, like, Brandon spends a couple hours of that day chopping wood for the next week.
Because you do the wood fire
Yeah,
red,
it's
right?
all
We
wood
also
fired. We
harvest
don't
our own
have
wood.
we don't use propane or anything like
Yeah.
that. So we have this wood fired oven in our cart that takes up like half the cart, and something gotta have something to power it. So that's a lot of your time off is spent still doing.
Still doing other
work.
things, but
Yeah.
I definitely relax a lot more.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I can tell you, as a guy who obviously loves to eat, I truly appreciate you guys being out there and doing these things. 'Cause, we're gonna hit a food truck up later. This is looking good.
So you guys have won some really sweet accolades. So can you tell us about some of your awards and recognitions that you've gotten?
So last year for 2018, we were Eater PDX's Food Cart of the Year, the People's Choice winner.
Nice.
Wow.
Which was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And totally unexpected, which was also really nice. And Willamette Week, which is a local weekly newspaper, they wrote a pretty nice article on us in July, I think. And
Yeah, it was July.
yeah, and right now there's actually another one coming out next week maybe for their cheap eats issue that they do every year.
Uh-huh.
So I'm excited about that because I think it's for food carts it's a draw. So
Yeah.
it's a lot more affordable.
Sure.
And those are the people we want to bring in. But we also have just a couple of smaller mentions here and there. On Eater and Portland Mercury is another local, I guess it's a print newspaper, but they have a website too. And we were on Good Day Oregon, which is our local news station.
Mhm.
They came and did an interview with us for one of their summer features. Get out and what can you do with your family kind of things.
That's awesome. Getting the word out. It's super important trying to get different people of the press that are out there just talking about your business, especially if you're a mobile business. You want to make sure if you're not necessarily brick and mortar, it's easier to say, come check us out here. Here's our address. But what is the one thing that you would recommend or your piece of advice for other people that are interested in starting a business like this, of just trying to get those press accolades and just getting someone out there to talk about it?
We started with social media and the website, and I have zero training in coding or website building at all, and I did this website myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was really easy, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So it's definitely doable for anyone. Same with Instagram, Facebook. I just try to post on there at least a couple times a week, and if we have a special, we always I try to take the best pictures I can, and all the pictures we have are just taken on my phone.
We've noticed that the more you update Instagram and Facebook, the more
It definitely
people,
brings
Yeah.
it
people
makes a
in.
difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We don't really use Twitter because I'm feel like I'm too old. I just like miss that boat.
It's not as food friendly as Instagram is.
Yeah, exactly.
is very helpful.
The photos really make a difference. I mean, people come and they say, I saw that and I want that thing that I
Yeah.
saw. But also, like, just be like the squeaky wheel. All of these websites, like for us, Willamette Week and Eater and Portland Mercury, they all have like like you can submit tips anonymously or not anonymously. And so anytime that we change our menu or we started doing brunch or we have some big event coming up or whatever, you just like submit these,
Right.
Information, and a lot of times they'll just copy and paste it onto their calendar, or sometimes they'll call you or post an article and a lot of times like they have posted, photos and articles about us and I don't find out until someone else points it out to me. So you may not always hear back from them, but you'd be shocked. Like it's, people, this is part of someone's job to like figure out what's going on around town. So I'm just like constantly submitting to these websites that I know our customers are reading to publish stuff about us.
So essentially, you've basically done all free advertising methods as of right now, and so
Yes.
We
but
don't pay
it-
for it.
Yeah,
I get so many calls from Google
But-
and Yelp, and I refuse.
Yeah, but it's incredible the business that you've started with just that kind of thing, and that's the importance of social media, which we've talked about in several different podcasts. Of social media is king, and you could do some boosted posts, you could do all that kind of thing, but you have to make sure you're consistent, you have a voice, and you're willing to go in there and interact with people who have questions about your business, whether it's good, bad, ugly. You have to make sure that you always have someone that's responding. So it's awesome that you guys do that, and it's just a true testament of how powerful free advertising can be if you stay on top of it.
And you stay consistent with it. Like to your point, you said just be the squeaky wheel, just keep going, continually do it, just keep putting things out there and people will start following you.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, like most of the time, really, I don't get a response from wherever I am submitting this stuff to, but it doesn't mean that they're not looking and watching and
Right.
eventually writing something about us.
But the 1 to 2 responses you might get
Right,
get
yeah.
effort worth
Yeah.
it for the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Uh-huh.
So
But
And
also,
even if
and
it's 5 visits, like I get 5 guests from something, like that's 5 guests I didn't have before.
exactly.
Absolutely.
It's also understanding though that like, okay, you don't want to do Twitter, which is perfectly fine, but you found your niche on Instagram because you
Yeah.
understand that social media outlet is the most important for your guys' business. So it's awesome, and you don't have to do every single thing.
No.
Yeah.
So just figure out which niche market you want to do. Well, I for one am super proud of you guys. I mean, it's an amazing thing that you've done, and you're one of the entrepreneurs of the family, so I really appreciate it. So
thank
but-
you guys for coming on today.
Yeah, you
Thanks for
traveled a
having
little bit of
us.
distance.
Thanks for
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can find you on Instagram. Is it Wild North PDX?
Wild North PDX, like across the board,
Okay,
no matter where
fair.
you find us. We
On
have Twitter, but I don't
Instagram.com
really
and
use
all
it.
that good stuff.
You'll
Yeah.
want to check out those pictures
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, guys, thanks for coming on. And for all our listeners, we'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Today's episode is brought to you by Champs Chicken. For deals, discounts, and updates, check out champschicken.com/connect. Be sure to stop by next week for another episode of QSR Nation, and be sure to check us out online at pfsbrands.com/podcast.